Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Right, let's continue. This is lesson number 14 of Ajurrumiyyah. And we've been talking about tawabi'. So tawabi' are those words in Arabic which we call copycat vowels. They simply take a vowel from another word that comes before it somewhere and they borrow that vowel. So these are known as tawabi's. So far, which ones have we done? Right, so we've done na'at. Okay, that's done. Ataf, it's done. And today we're going to be doing Tawkeed. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so Tawkeed today. Right, what is Tawkeed all about? So remember, if you've got any questions about previous lessons, all right, ask, inshallah, and I'll try to answer as best as possible. So first of all, Tawkeed basically means emphasis. So today's lesson we're going to be dedicating it to Tawkeed. So let me make this page a little bigger. Okay, so we can look at a bigger page. That should be okay. Alright, so Tawkeed. Tawkeed basically means emphasis, like I said in Arabic. Right, so if you want to emphasize something, simply use a technique which is known as Tawkeed, emphasis. So we do this in English as well. So in English, for example, if I say, you're pestering me, and I say to you, yes, a second, I say to you, yes, I heard you. Yeah, so yes. Notice what have I done? I've repeated a word. So the repetition of a word is a way for emphasizing something. So this is basically what Tawkeed is all about. Is by achieving some sort of emphasis by using an extra word. Now, let me just give you a little understanding of the Arabic language. In the Arabic language, there's two types of emphasis that are used. Okay, there's two types of emphasis. Let me get rid of this so it doesn't confuse anyone. Okay, so there's two types of emphasis that we use in Arabic. Okay, now one of them is the emphasis which you're going to study in balagha. Inshallah, if you guys study balagha, or if you guys want to do the course that I've done on balagha, which is balagha from the Quran only. So in balagha, you're going to be studying about how in the Quran Allah uses emphasis. So different ways that Allah emphasizes something in Arabic is, for example, by using like words like inna, like we did in the nawasikh, huruf mushabbah bil fi'l, or by using qasam, which is an oath. So you want to emphasize something, or by rearrange certain words, etc. This is you study in balagha. We're not talking about this. We are not going to be discussing these issues. What we're going to be studying is the emphasis that is used in Nahw. Okay, Arabic grammar. Okay, so that's what we're going to be focusing on. And this is what we want to discuss today. So now the next question that you guys want to ask me is, Ustadh, how many types of emphasis are there in Arabic grammar? So what am I going to say? I'm going to take a sip of tea. I'm going to take a sip of Spanish tea. And then I'm going to respond to you in an English way, not in a Spanish way, because I don't know much Spanish. Okay, so how are we going to explain this? So in Nahw, emphasis is of two types. Right? So either you repeat the same word more than once. So you repeat the same word more than once. Or what you do is you use another word. Another word. So these are the two types of emphasis that you have in Nahw. Okay, so how do we repeat a word? So in Arabic, a word can be repeated in several ways. Right? You can have I'll list them here. You can have an ism that's repeated. You can have a fi'l that's repeated. You can have a harf that's repeated. Yeah, you can have any one of these that's repeated, and it will be considered to be, in Nahw, it's considered to be Tawkeed. For example, like if I say in Arabic, if I say Zaydun, 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 Qa'imun. Zayd, Zayd is standing. Zayd, Zayd is standing. Now notice what have I done? I've repeated it. I said it once, that was enough, but then I said it again. This is the second time I said it. So the rule is that because this word over here, this word is the repeated word, it's going to borrow the vowel from the word before it. So because it's going to borrow the vowel, so that's got Dhamma, it's Rafa, we're going to make this into the Rafa state as well. Okay, so this is known as the Tawkeed emphasis. The same can be done with the fi'l as well. So with the fi'l, for example, if I say ذهب, 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 ذهب خالد. Okay, so ذهب, ذهب خالد. So notice what I've done? Repeated the verb again. Yeah, repeated it. So this is the repetition. Now, verbs at the moment, we don't see any sort of a dramatic vowel change there. So we're not going to really deal with that at the moment. But later on, inshallah, you learn more about verbs. You learn about can they be in the rafa state, and so that inshallah doesn't come later. I did touch on it previously. And finally, number 3, okay, you have harf. So harf is where you have a like a particle that's repeated. So for instance, like if I say Fatima min London. Okay, so what have I done? I've repeated the word min. Yeah. Let me change the color of it. I've repeated the word min now. So that repetition of min, that is the Tawkeed. So all these ones that I've underlined, those are the Tawkeeds. And notice I've done it by repeating a word. Now, to add to this category, the repeating category, we actually call this a Tawkeed al-lafzi. This is the fancy name for it. Yeah, so before one of you guys say to me, but ustadh, we read in a book that this is called Nahw lafzi. I go, okay, calm down, chill out. Drink some Spanish tea with me. Yeah, it's called Tawkeed al-lafzi. You happy? Yes, okay. So this is called Tawkeed lafzi. Lafzi means wording. Word. Why? Because I've repeated the same word again. The same word has been repeated. And because it's been repeated again, it's called lafz. Makes sense? Logical. Alright, we can add to this another type of Tawkeed as well. Or another type of examples as well. These are damirs. Yeah, damirs. Now, I'm not going to make this a separate category because damirs come under isms anyway. So I don't want to confuse people thinking, wait a minute, so ism, fi'l, harf and damirs. But isn't a damir an ism? And then yes, it is an ism. So that's why I'm writing like this. So for example, like if I say something like this. سمعت أنا الدرس. I should have done that, shouldn't I? Okay, which I will do now. I'm just gonna get rid of this. Look at that. Magic is gone. And right, so the damir here. سمعت أنا الدرس. So I heard the dars. So this ana, this is called the damir. And this damir is not needed. This was not needed for the sentence. So this ana, by me bringing it, all I'm doing is I'm emphasizing the damir which is already found inside of سمعت. So inside of سمعت, That tu represents ana, I. It represents I. So it's like saying this, I heard. I heard. Yeah. So سمعت أنا الدرس. So that damir, by bringing it after, you're doing Tawkeed of it. So this ana, don't call this ana fa'il, okay? Whatever you do, don't say, right, سمعت is the fi'l and ana is the fa'il. No. That's wrong, that is. خطأ. هذا خطأ كبير. Okay, so no, you can't do that because that's the fi'l plus the fa'il. And ana is what we call the Tawkeed. Yeah. And الدرس is called the maf'ul bihi. That's known as the maf'ul bihi, which we're going to do later. So for now, Tawkeed is. So that's an example of that. Another example that you can have, let me just write it down here. For instance, if I said something like this, if I said رأيتك okay, رأيتك أنت. So the word رأيتك, what does that mean? رأيتك means I saw you. Yeah. So رأيت is the I saw, and ka is you. So then what do we do with the anta? What's the anta? So what we say, this anta is Tawkeed. Okay, this is Tawkeed. This is emphasizing the damir ka. Yeah, so you're emphasizing it. I saw you. Yeah, just like in the Quran, Allah says, when they came to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and they said to him, أأنت فعلت. So they mentioned the anta as well. So they want to mention Tawkeed, even though they brought it before. Yeah, but you get the idea of how it works. You get how it works by repeating the damir. And this damir is what we call a damir munfasil. A munfasil damir. Okay, so that's basically all you have to remember for that, for lafzi. Let's move on to the next one now. The next one's, this is the kind of important one that you guys really need to know about, which is the kind of confusing one sometimes as well. So, alright, get your thinking caps on. Hope you guys all there thinking and listening attentively. Okay, so let me see if I've got any tea left. Okay, tea's finished, so I have to concentrate more. Alright, now the next thing is another word. Okay, so when we use another word, the word that we use are several things we can use. Number one, we can use the words nafs or ayn. Nafs or ayn. Okay, put in the comments what nafs and ayn means, and inshallah we'll look at that. Number two, okay, we can use the word kila or كلتا. Yeah, again, in the comments you can put down what kila and kilta means, and don't say to me kila means someone who commits a big crime. Yeah. Okay, number three, you can use the word أجمع or كل. And number four, you can use a series of words, like for instance أقطع, أبتع, أبصع. Yeah, you can use some of these words if you like. Okay, so these are the 4 types of other words that you can use. Right? Excellent, very good, mashallah. Okay, before we actually go into each one of these, repeat the repeated word. This is called lafzi. Yeah, the repeated one is called lafzi. So guess what the other one is called? The other one is called al-ma'nawi. Al-ma'nawi. Okay, so al-ma'nawi. So ma'nawi basically means it's an emphasis, but it doesn't use the same words. It uses the meaning. Yeah, so the meaning that's found inside this extra word emphasizes the other word. Okay, so again, let's have a look at how this works. So let's look at each one of these then. Right, now nafs and ayn. What does nafs and ayn mean? Literally, nafs and ayn means, nafs means like soul or self or body. It's got like all these multiple meanings. And ayn means eye or spring or knee or sun or gold. It's got like about 60 meanings. Yeah, so 60 meanings Arabic. You show me a word in English that has 60 meanings without you obviously making one up on the spot and giving you all your meanings. So how does this work then? So for example, if I said something like this, if I said Ja'a actually, let me just move this a bit to the side so you get a bit more space. Ja'a Zaydun. Zayd came. Now, for example, let's say this happened. Right, you said to me, I can't believe Zayd came to your house, I can't believe it. Sheikh Zayd. Yeah, Sheikh Zayd is a big time sheikh. He's not going to come down your house. And I said, nah, you don't believe me. Sheikh Zayd himself came down to my house. Yeah, so in Arabic, the way you say that is by adding after this. You can either repeat Zayd again. Zayd came, but we don't want to do that because that's called lafzi. We want to do ma'nawi. Yeah, it's by adding the word here, which is nafsuhu. Yeah, nafsuhu. Now see what I've done here. Yeah, let me just break this down for you guys. I've added the word nafs. But you see what I've done at the end there? I added the damir there. Yeah? So damir has been added. Nafsuhu. Okay, so this damir is needed over here. You need this. Yeah? You need that. So this damir is going to correspond with Zayd. If Zayd's a single masculine, you're going to say nafsuhu. If this was a feminine like Zainab, for instance, you would have said nafsuha. Yeah. Okay, and if it was a plural, yeah, let's say it was al-rijal, the men, then not only would you use hum, you'd also use over here, you'd use the ×3 version of nafs. Yeah, the ×3 version of nafs, which is anfus. Okay, so because this nafs is a ta'keed, it's going to borrow the same vowel. So what vowel do we have in here? It's a rafa state. So you're going to give this the rafa state. Marfu, dhamma. Yeah, dawan, remember, dad, waw, alif, noon. These are the 4 things, symbols of rafa state. So you're going to give it that. So ja'a zaydun nafsuhu. And ayn works exactly the same. Exactly the same. No difference at all. If I say ja'a zaydun aynuhu. So it doesn't mean Zayd came, Zayd's eye came. Yeah. Zayd's got some Dajjal eye. Yeah, and this Dajjal eye just pops out and he just comes after people. Yeah, no, sorry. Right, so Ja'a Zaydun aynuhu. And if you're going to use it for a feminine, if you said Zainab, you would say Ja'at Zainab aynuha. Or al-rijal, Ja'at al-rijal, Ja'a al-rijal a'yunuhum. Yeah, so that's basically how that works. So this is nafs and ayn, and this is used for emphasizing. Okay, emphasis. Next, kila and kilta. Okay, now you see the author, he actually does not touch on these two for some unknown reason, wallahu a'lam. And on the day of judgment, me and you can go to him and ask him, sheikh or ustadh or whatever we want to call him, we're going to say, well, how come you didn't mention kila and kilta? Yeah, so I don't know why he hasn't mentioned it, but maybe he just thought that, you know, this is a simple book, a basic book, so he's not going to go into all the nitty-gritty details. So kila and kilta, so we'll leave that till the end. So we'll do the ones that he's done and then we'll come back to this one. Okay, next. The next is ajma'u, and this is supposed to be jim, okay, by the way. Yeah, so ajma'u and kul. Yeah, so ajma' and kul. So how do we use ajma' and how do we use kul? So the way ajma' is used and the way kul is used is like this. If I say ja'a الرجال, جاء الرجال, the men came. Yeah, the men. Now you see, you can't really use ajma' with a word which is single. Yeah, and the reason for that is because ajma' has the meaning of lots and lots of individuals. Yeah, so many individuals make up a jami'. Yeah, so if you want to use it for a single, you're going to use nafs ayn. So ajma', you're going to use the kind of plural. So we're going to use over here ajma'. So how are we going to use that? So we're going to say ja'a rijal, and this is the ta'keed. So because rijal is rafa, we're going to use the rafa stay here. Ajma'un. Ja'a rijal ajma'un. Yeah, so ajma'un, what does that mean? It means all of them. Yeah, so ja'a rijal ajma'un, all of them came. Okay. If you were gonna say, you know, ra'aytu, ra'aytu, I saw, ra'aytu al-rijal, I saw the men, al-rijal, then in that case you would say ajma'in. Ajma'in. Okay, ajma'in. Now notice, you're not going to add a al. This gun al, but you're not adding it there. It's not sifa mawsuf. It doesn't work like that. So this is for ta'keed. So this comes in the Quran as well. Yeah. فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَ كُلُّهُمْ أَجْمَعُونَ. So kul works similar to nafs. The only difference is that kul only has one form, that's all. So again, kul is used for something that has individuals, parts, bits to it. So again, over here, this exact same example, you would say جاء الرجال أجمعون. You would say كلهم. Okay, so let me break this down. So kul, and then you add a damir at the end. جاء الرجال كلهم. So this damir over here, it has to conform with whatever's there. So rijal is times 3, so hum is going to be times 3 as well. Yeah, so that's basically how that works. If, for example, like you said something like this, akaltu, I ate at-ta'am, the food. Yeah, I ate the food. You wouldn't use ajma'in with it. Yeah, because ajma'in is not used for something like food. It's used for things that have individuals, like humans usually. So for ta'am, you would say akaltu at-ta'ama kulla. And then at the end, what damir are you going to add? You're going to add hu. Okay, so hu. Akaltu at-ta'am kullahu. Okay, akaltu at-ta'am kullahu. And that's how you work out ta'keed. Now these akta, abta, absa, these, forget what they mean. Yeah, forget what they mean. These are used for like super emphasis, extra emphasis. And you can only use these when you use ajma'. Yeah, so when you use ajma', you can only use these when you use ajma'. That's all. You can't use them on their own. So you can't say رأيت الرجال أكتعين أبتعين. You can't use that. You got to use all of these with أجمع. Okay, أجمع. So after you've used ajma in the sentence, now you can bring akta. So for instance, let me give you an example. Example things make sense. If I say Ja'a al-Muslimun, the Muslims came, and now you use ajma'un. Now after this, now you can use those ones now. You can say akta or akta'un, absa, yeah, etc., etc. You can use them now. Yeah, so that's basically how that works. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah, that's what he's trying to say. Okay, next. Kila and kilta. So kila and kilta, these are for dual. Okay, these are for duals, for dual purpose. Yeah, these are for dual. Kila is for masculine, M for masculine, and kilta is for feminine. Okay, so masculine and feminine. For example, like let's say there's 2 books, and I read the 2 books. Yeah, say I read the 2 books. I say something like this: qara'tu, and then I bring it over here. Qara'tu. Now, I would say kilay. Let me explain why I say kilay. Huma. Yeah, so huma, you have to bring, a dual damir at the end of it. Yeah, got to bring a dual damir at the end of it, or an ism zahir. You can say qara'tu kilayhima. Kilayhima. Now you see, this word kila, if it's in, you can either attach it to the end of a damir, or you can attach at the end of it an ism zahir. Okay, let me smooth that bit up. Yeah, so a damir or ism zahir. If you attach to the end of it a damir, then you got 2 choices. Okay, the word can, you got 2 choices, but the word, the kila, is either going to be in the rafa state, kila, rafa, or kilay in the nasab and the jar state. Kilay, like that, kilay. Nasab and jar. Yeah, like duels that we done in duels, if you go back to duels, if you remember. Yeah, so with an alif or with a ya. So in other words, if you bring a damir after it, then if it's a nasab word, like in this case, it's maf'ul bihi. So you're going to say qara'tu kilayhima. It's in the nasab state. And if it's in the rafa state, for example, if I said something like this, Ja'a kila huma. Yeah, so now it's in the rafa state, it's the fa'il. Okay, so all you have to remember is, if the kila has a damir at the end, it has to correspond with rafa, nasab and jar. And if it's rafa, you say kila. If it's nasab and jar, you say kilay. Khalas. If, however, at the end of the kila there's an ism zahir at the end of it. Ism zahir basically means a noun, not anything else besides the damir. In that case, you always have to say kilay. Kila. You always got to say kila. Yeah, murderer. Kila. Not a joke. Not murderer, okay. Just in case. Right, so for example, if I say Ja'a kila ar-rajulain. Ja'a kila ar-rajulain. And now it behaves like mudaf ilayh. So kila is the mudaf and rajulain is the mudaf ilayh. Or if I said ra'aytu, I saw kila ar-rajulain. Again, same thing, it doesn't change. Yeah, kila, it's in the rafa state. It's like in the rafa. It's mabni, but we don't call it rafa. But I'm just writing that there, just to show you that rafa state there. Yeah, so it's like that. And marartu, I pass by. Marartu bi kila, again same thing. Ar-rajulain. Ar-rajulain. Yeah, so that's all you have to remember about the dual one. So the way you understand the dual is kila, and the same with kilta as well. Kilta is for feminine. So anything feminine you're talking about, if you're talking about two women, you will say kiltahuma, kiltayhima. And if you add to the end of it an ism dhahir, you're going to say kilta al-mar'ataini, kilta al-jannataini, atat ukulaha. Yeah. So that's basically how you do the ta'keed, emphasis. And whatever I've done in red, that's emphasis, that is. That's called ta'keed. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now notice, you see in some of these, I didn't write down the word, the mu'akkad, the word that's being emphasized. You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to. I can say, qara'tu al-kitabain kilayhima. Yeah, I could have added, over here, I could have added the word kitabaini. Yeah, that's fine. I didn't. Ja'a ar-rajulani. Two men came. Kilahuma. You could have added all these, but I didn't. You can remove it as well, in other words. Okay, so let's look at what we've done today, and then we look at the Quran. So tawabi', emphasis, ta'keed. You got ta'keed that's in balagha. Yeah, we're not doing that. We need to do that today. That's something you can study in balagha. Ta'keed al-nahw, lafzi and ma'nawi. Lafzi is known as repeating exactly the same word. Yeah, by repeating an ism twice, or a fi'l twice, or a harf twice, or even a damir after a damir munfasil after a damir muttasil, if that wording you like. Yeah, if you like those kind of wordings, then I'll use that wording. Okay, and otherwise, if you don't repeat the same word again, it's called ma'nawi, another word. What other words can you use? You can use nafs, ain. Yeah, and I showed you how that works. You can use kila, kilta, and I just give you a little demonstration there of how kila, kilta works. It either has a damir at the end, in which case you gotta correspond the rafa and the nasab jar. Otherwise, it's always kila or kilta. And then you got ajma, kul. Yeah, kul, you gotta add a damir at the end. Ajma, you don't. And then akta, abta, absa. These are three words very, very rarely used. Yeah, are very, very rarely used. But if they are used, then you must precede it with ajma. Yeah, ajma. Okay, and that's basically it. So let's look at the text and then do the Quran. Babu Tawkeed, the chapter of emphasis, Tawkeed. At-Tawkeedu, Tawkeed is tabi'un. It's a following word. Lil mu'akkadi. So you see the word over here, like the ones I do in green. They're known as mu'akkads. Mu'akkad, mu'akkad, mu'akkad. Yeah, mu'akkad, mu'akkad. رجال مؤكد, رجال مؤكد, الطعام مؤكد, زيد مؤكد, زينب مؤكد, رجال مؤكد, etc. etc. These are known as what? Mu'akkads. So Tawkeed is a tabi, is a following word, a copycat word, lil mu'akkad, for the word that's being emphasized, fi raf'ihi, in its rafa state, meaning when, let's say, the word Zaid is rafa, or nasab state, in its nasab state, wa khafdihi, and in its jar state, wa ta'rifihi, and if it's ma'rifa or if it's nakira. Yeah, so fi ta'rifihi ma'rifa nakira. So let's look at this then. I didn't explain ma'rifa nakira issue because it generally is used for ma'rifa. Yeah, it generally is used for ma'rifa. So that's why we added damir at the end. وَيَكُونُ بِأَلْفَاظٍ مَعْلُومَةٍ, and it's done with known words, specific words. Like you can't make your own word up unless it's lafzi, where obviously you can use any word you want by repeating it. Ma'nawi, there's fixed words, and I gave you the 4 types of fixed words. There's nafs, ain, kul, ajma', and the tawabi of ajma', the followers, the 3 children of ajma', you can call them. The 3, the chicks of ajma'. وهي أكتا, أبتا, and أبصع. تقول, you say, قام زيد نفسه. Zayd himself got up. Yeah, Zayd himself got up. رأيت القوم, I saw the people, كلهم, all of them. You could have said, I saw all the people, but in Arabic there's a difference between رأيت كل القوم and رأيت القوم كلهم. If you say رأيت كل القوم, like if you say something like this, if you say رأيت كل القوم, that's not emphasis. You're not emphasizing anything. You're just telling me that you saw everyone. That's it. But if you say رأيت القوم and then after that you bring emphasis, you say كلهم. Yeah, now that's emphasizing something. That's like you want to tell me, you know what? I saw every single person, every single one. Okay, so the difference between رأيت القوم كلهم ومررت بالقوم أجمعين, and I passed by the people, all of them, all together. Now, let me just give you in the Quran example of how the difference between kul and ajma'in works. It's a very nice example. Allah says, فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ, the angels prostrated. Allah commanded the angels to prostrate to Adam. So Allah says, سَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ, all the angels prostrated. Yeah. And then he says, كُلُّهُمْ, كُلُّهُمْ. And then he says, أجمعون, he brings both of them. Okay, now why does he do that for? So, كُلُّهُمْ is the first ta'keed, and أجمعون is the second ta'keed. Okay, كُلُّهُمْ and أجمعون. So, what Allah wants to show here is two things now. When Allah commanded the angels to prostrate to Adam, if Allah had just said this, for instance, let's get rid of this. Let's say Allah had said, yeah, sajad al-malaika, the angels prostrated. And for instance, let's say there was 100 angels. Obviously there's billions and billions of angels, but I'm just trying to make it easier to understand. There's 100 angels, and if I say to you the angels prostrated, that could have meant the angels prostrated, at least 3 of them prostrated. From 3 to 100, we don't know how many, but they prostrated. So that shows us not all angels were obedient to Allah. Yeah. So to clarify this, what does Allah say? Kulluhum. By saying kulluhum, what happens? It means all of them, all 100 of them. But if I say to you all angels prostrated, the time duration is not known. Yeah, I mean, let's say 30 of them prostrated in the morning, and 30 of them prostrated in the afternoon, and 40 of them prostrated in the evening. Yeah, that's still kulluhum, but that shows you that not all of them, acted upon Allah's command immediately. But by saying ajma'un, ajma'un means all together. So now Allah is saying 3 things. The angels prostrated. How many of them? All 100 of them. And did they do it at the same time? Yes, ajma'un. So this is the benefit of Tawkeed. So Allah is showing you how obedient the angels were to Allah's command. Okay, right, let's look at the Quran. Right, so this is Surah Al-A'raf. So one thing you need to remember, now every week I tell you this, guys, is, Arabic grammar is rules. Rules cannot be understood if you don't apply them. If you want to study Arabic grammar the best way, you know what you have to do? You have to put triple or quadruple the amount of time you put into learning the rule into applying it. Yeah, so if you learnt the rule, if it took you, let's say, 10 minutes to learn the rule, you need to put in 30 minutes application if you really want to understand. Yeah, seriously, otherwise you're just going to understand bits and bobs, and you're not going to be able to piece them together when you look at the Quran, or you just open a book that has no vowels on there. You won't be able to put them together. Okay, so let's look at this then. So here, kitabun, this is marfu. Yeah, so kitabun is marfu. Okay, this is a mubtada, or the mubtada is hidden. Kitabun. Okay, fi sadarika harajun. Harajun. Yeah, so harajun is the ism of yakunu kana naqis. Yeah, that's why it's in the mansub state. Okay, so this is in the marfu state rather. Mansub, marfu state. Rafa. Okay, let's go down a bit. جاءها بأسنا. So بأسنا, this is the fa'il of جاءها. بأسنا, جاء is the fi'il. بأسنا, بأس is mudaf and na is mudaf ilayh, and that becomes the fa'il of جاء. Okay, جاء. That's marfu state. Okay, let's move a bit down. Okay, so أولئك, this is what we call a mubtada. أولئك is the mubtada. Al-muflihuna is the khabar. Yeah, so أولئك in the rafa state, because all mubtadas are in the rafa state. Al-muflihun is the khabar, which is in the rafa state as well. And this hum in between, this is called the damir al-fasl. Okay, so damir al-fasl is the damir which appears before a mubtada or between a mubtada and a khabar, where the khabar has an al attached to it. So khabar has an al, and you find a damir between a mubtada and a khabar. What are you going to call it? Damir al-fasl. Okay. Let's go a bit down then. Okay, so here he says, قُلْنَا لِلْمَاءِ أُسْجُدُوا لِآدَمْ فَسَجَدُوا. I thought here he'd use the كُلُّهُمْ أَجْمَعُونَ. So it's not mentioned here, so chalo, doesn't matter. أَمَرْتُكَ. So أَمَرْتُ is the fi'l, I commanded. Ka is the damir, you. I commanded you. أنا مبتدا. خير is the khabar. Yeah, أنا خير. Okay. Let's go a bit down. Okay. لأملأن. Okay, check this one. لأملأن. So this lam is what we call lam ta'keed, emphasis. This is not harf jar, okay? This is just for emphasis. This is one of those balagha things. So this is not the emphasis that we talked about today. This is the balagha ones. لأملأن, I will definitely, and this noon thaqila is called noon thaqila. It's for emphasis as well, and it's again it's a balagha issue. In balagha you study that. So it's when you look when I say balagha emphasis, you can basically kind of translate balagha emphasis as an oath. So la is like saying by Allah. Amla means I will fill. Noon again, la amla anna is like saying by Allah again. So Allah is saying it twice. By Allah, I will fill Jahannam minkum, of you. In other words, I'll fill Jahannam with you. Ajma'een. Look at that ta'keed. Yeah, so what is this ta'keed of? Ajma'een. All Ajma'een. It's the ta'keed of the kum over here. The kum. Yeah, so remember we said the kum, ajma'un, ajma'een. Ajma'un is in the rafa state. Ajma'een is in the nasab and the jar state. So kum here is majroor. So ajma'een is going to be in the majroor state. So this ajma'een is the ta'keed. Okay. Okay. وَيَا آدَمْ أُسْكُنْ. Okay, ya is nida, harf nida. Adam is the munada. Uskun is the amr. Yeah, command, amr. Right. Anta. Anta. Now, uskun, inside of uskun, there's anta already there. So why do you need to repeat anta again? So if you repeat anta again after uskun, what does that mean? Remember we said over here. Yeah, by repeating a damir after a fi'l, a damir munfasil, after a fi'l, that damir is treated as ta'keed. You don't call anta the fa'il of uskun, because uskun automatically is considered to have the fa'il inside of it. Yeah, the fa'il, the damir fa'il is inside of it. Yeah, and let me just give you a tip here, guys. You know all the verbs that you have in the Arabic language, the only ones he and she, any verb, past, present, whatever, that has the meaning of single he or single she, can only possibly have a fa'il after it. None of the others can have a fa'il after it. If you ever get a damir after any of the others, you always treat that as ta'keed. Yeah, sorry, ta'keed. So anta is ta'keed. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope so. So uskun anta wa zawjuka. So anta, this is ta'keed. Yeah, of the anta found inside of. So this is ta'keed lafzi. All right. let's just go to Surah Al. Okay, let's go to Surah. Wish I was a Hafiz, guys. Make dua, guys, that somehow I just memorize the Quran. Yeah, I'm not really memorizing at the moment, but maybe you guys will make some dua and all of a sudden Quran go in my head. So at least I can know all these verses. Okay. Let's look at this one over here then. Okay, so over here he says وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مثلا كلتا الجنتين آتت أكلها. So this kilta over here is that kilta that we're talking about. This is in the rafa state. Okay, the rafa state, so mudaf, and jannatayn is the mudaf ilayhi, and this is actually considered to be the mubtada. This is the mubtada. Now you see this kilta, because it doesn't have the muakkad before it, yeah, because I have the muakkad before it, then you don't have to treat it as a ta'keed, technically. So anyway, you can just say kilta is mudaf, jannatayn is mudaf ilayhi, mudaf ilayhi becomes the mubtada, and then atat ukulaha, yeah, atat ukulaha. ولم تظلم منه شيئا. Oh, just up there, that's the khabar. آتت فعل فاعل, and أكلها is the مضاف إليه, becomes the مفعول به. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Okay, so any questions on that, guys? Does that make sense? Yeah. Any questions?